Welcome to another edition of the Gridiron Report. I'm Jared Johnson. I'm joined by the Mighty Joe. Yeah, Real Mighty Joe. One of those features we do every week is 3 keys to victory for Texas Tech. And boy, the Red Raiders could use a victory this week in Ames against undefeated Iowa State. I think there's we could point to a lot of things this week that Tech needs to do in order to win, pull off this upset. What's your first key to victory for the Red Raiders?
Well, this is maybe a little bit of an unusual one, but Iowa State is number 1 in the country in penalty yardage per game. At least, they've only got 25 penalty yards per game. Texas Tech is number 92 out of 133, which is not real high.
No.
So in a game where I think you don't have a whole lot of margin for error, you've got to do better in that regard. Look, Iowa State is not going to give you any gimmies from the standpoint of stalling themselves out with pre-snap penalties or anything like that. If you're going to stop them, you have to stop them the old-fashioned way. They're not going to stop themselves. And then on the other side of the ball, they're not going to do something stupid on third down and help you extend a drive or anything like that and give you some sort of a gift. So they're not going to be screwing up like that. They haven't done it all year. And Texas Tech needs to stop. I'm talking about mainly the offensive line. How many times have we seen, Caleb Rogers, Sterling Porsche, people like that with these pre-snap penalties and whatnot. Getting points against Iowa State under the best of circumstances is going to be difficult enough. If you're shooting yourself in the foot, then forget about it. That's one drive down the tubes there. You can't get away with that. So, keep an eye on the penalties.
Yeah, that's a good one because it's going to take efficient play in order to win. Like you said, the margin for error is very slim for Texas Tech with anybody right now, but especially this caliber of a team, Iowa State. Mine's going to be capitalize on opportunities. There will be opportunities for Texas Tech, and we've mentioned when you get in the red zone, you got to punch it in, and when you get turnovers, like you said, we talked about it in the preview in the previous video. Texas Tech didn't do a great job of capitalizing on those turnovers against TCU, though they did build a nice lead in the second half. You can't afford to do that against Iowa State. If you do come up with those turnovers, which Tech's been good at this year, then you got to score. You got to punch it in because, like you said, Iowa State's not going to beat themselves a lot. So when you get those opportunities, if you force turnovers, you got to get the most out of it.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And, my next key is, I think the obvious thing on defense for Texas Tech is everybody's worried about the pass defense, and that's completely understandable. However, what really worries me about this, and that's related to the pass defense problem, is the ability to stop the run against Iowa State because they have 3 really good running backs. They don't have your one. They don't have Earl Campbell back there or anything like that. They have 3 guys who are dang good: Hanson, Jackson, and Sama. All 3 of those guys are well over 300 yards per game. Not per game, but for the season. All are averaging over 4.8 yards per carry. And the Hanson guy's got something like 7 touchdowns. And then Rocco Beck, the quarterback, also can beat you with his feet as well. So the problem is you're so worried about your messed up pass defense. You think that you have to put a lot of people back there in coverage, right? Makes sense. But then you got a light box against those really good running backs and those running attack and that running attack that they've got at Iowa State. So what do you do, man? If you're Tim DeRuyter, how much do you commit to try to stopping that run? I think that if Tech goes with a light box too much, they're just going to pound it down the field all day long, and it's going to be kind of ugly that way. So that's something I'm going to be keeping an eye on.
That's a good one. I think that's been happening.
Yeah.
The overcompensation for how weak or how much the secondary struggle, let's put it that way. Bonus key. I think it's the first time we had a bonus key this year. Stay patient in the running game for Texas Tech's offense. I think you mentioned in the preview that UCF, who was a very good running team, was able to put up a lot of rushing yards and points that way against Iowa State in Iowa State's last game. I think it'd also be important that Tech gets off to a good start. They're not behind, feel like they're pressing. There's Zach Keeley's down on pass plays. I really feel like there's going to be opportunity for Texas Tech to run the ball. Tech has shown they can run the ball. Obviously, they got one of the best running backs in the country in Taj Brooks. Jacoby Williams has shown he could provide a spark to the offense as well. He performed really well in that second half against TCU last week. So I think it's going to be huge for Texas Tech to stay patient in the running game, no matter who the quarterback is there. behind center now, Joe.
Yeah, that's right, because you will have to rely primarily on the running game because, as we mentioned the previous one, Iowa State has the top-rated pass defense in the country. And your quarterback situation, Baron Morton, probably not 100%. And even if he is 100%, I'm not sure how much he could do through the air against this sort of a pass defense. And Will Hammond, for all of his talent, obvious talent, that's asking an awful lot for a freshman to come in there and throw the ball on the road. I don't even know what the weather conditions are going to be like. November in Ames, it could be.
I think it's going to be ugly.
Kind of ugly, yeah. So, man, that on top of everything. So, I do believe that the running game is where it's going to have to be for Tech's offense.
All right, Mighty Joe. Great stuff from you
Thank
as
you.
always. Thank you all for watching, and until next time.